ruined my happy marriage for a younger stranger. Now he's gone and took the kids. Hey all, I am here to share how one small mistake ruined the entire life I built with my husband and my kids. I worked so hard to make sure that I do my wifey and mom duties to the best of my knowledge, but sadly it all came to an end, just because I probably felt weak in one single moment. I am here to let you guys know that the saying, grass is always greener on the other side, is not just a saying when it happens to you in real life. I can easily relate when people say that one mistake ruined their entire life. Every day now I pray and hope that someday I will be forgiven and taken back and accepted again. I am now a single woman recently divorced after a 15-year-long marriage with my husband. I agree that it was all my fault, but I do not agree that it was because I wanted to enjoy my life or have a little fun. I just wanted to make myself feel a little better and worthy of being married to my husband. I never expected things to take such an unexpected turn, and everything turned upside down in the blink of an eye. I had 2 adorable kids with my loving husband who now have blocked me and are embarrassed by my actions. I know it feels weird to call him loving when I was the one who forgot about the loving part and put everything on stake just because I was happy that a young man was interested in me. My husband was a successful person in his company and was recently going to be promoted to CEO of his company. The kids and I got ready for his announcement party and were super excited for his big day. I tried my best to look like the wife of a future CEO. We finally were placed next to a few of his colleagues who had been with him through his journey. I was feeling small standing next to these gorgeous women, who not only looked beautiful, but were also smart in their area of expertise. I felt like I did not belong here at all. I had nothing to add to the conversations, and I did not know how long I could just survive by just smiling at everyone. The ceremony finally began, and I breathed a sigh of relief that I did not have to stay in conversation with his colleagues and make a fool out of myself. My husband gave his speech and mentioned me as his support and inspiration. It felt more like an obligation and not a compliment because everyone would judge me if he did not mention his wife in his speech. I was quiet throughout the event as I felt so out of place. All the people around me had achieved something or the other in their life, while I was just a graduate who had nothing to show other than my kids and my house as my achievements. My husband did ask me if I was okay, and we could leave if I wanted to. I did not want to ruin his big day and all the limelight that was meant for him. I just said that I was so happy that all this was hard to believe and I was just trying to make it sink in. My kids, on the other hand, were easily able to interact with everyone and were blending in so well. I was the only one who looked like the odd piece in a puzzle. I went to the washroom and sat there for a long time wondering if anyone would notice that I was gone. I did not know if my presence was even necessary, but I knew that I could not be stuck here forever. I took a deep breath and made my way to the main event hall. My husband then took me by my hand and introduced me to his bosses and praised me for being such a good wife. Well, that was all I was in his eyes. A good wife who had nothing more to be added to her identity. We came home and I had this pit in my stomach that kept growing and growing, making me look smaller by each passing second. I could not sleep all night thinking that maybe I was the one holding my husband back. Maybe he deserved someone better who would be able to fit his charisma and add on to conversations instead of just smiling, having no clue what the hell was going on. My husband could sense my unease in the morning and told me that there was nothing that I needed to worry about. He was glad that he met me, and I changed his life completely. He said even if he was asked to do something over his life, he would always choose me. I smiled at him with a little ease that maybe I was just overthinking all this. If my husband was happy and glad to be with me, then I did not have to worry about anything else. I smiled and went over my day. As I was getting coffee for my husband, I heard him say over the phone to his secretary what he would have done without her. I felt a pang in my heart. He told me that he was glad that I was in his life and not that he would be lost without me. I could see the difference between how he meant every word he told her and mine were just empty words said out of obligation. After seeing my husband's co-workers, I admit that I was a bit jealous of the way they looked and talked. It was all elegant and intelligent. I wanted to become like them so that my husband values me more and says things that came from the bottom of his heart. Well, you could say that I was more than jealous and insecure that my husband could find anyone who was more competent and put together than I was. I decided that before he slips away, I need to make sure that I am as desirable to him as I was when we first met. He kept assuring me that he loved everything about me and would not change even a single thing about me. I believed that he was telling all that only to keep my heart. I had scars from childbirth, stretch marks, put on a lot of weight, and even hardly maintained my skin. My husband laughed it off, saying that all those marks and all those blemishes, that I had told a story, that I lived a wonderful life. He was happy to be a part of all those experiences and share the joy with me. I was still not really convinced and wanted to make some major changes to my lifestyle. I'm sure my husband that I still had it in me to make him go weak in his knees. He said that he was already falling in love with me every time he looked at me. If that is what will make me happy, then he said that he would support me in my progress. I planned the next week and made a list of all the things that I wanted to accomplish to be able to stand hand in hand with my husband as his proud wife. I was determined to make sure that we are a perfect match, and nobody ever wonders why my husband married such a bimbo like me. I shared my list with my husband and kids, and they said that they would help me in any which way they could. In the coming days, I will wake up early and work on my physical fitness and diet. My daughter said that she would accompany me to keep me motivated in my journey. After a week, she took me to a salon and got me a complete makeover, which made me look younger. I was very grateful that my family was so supportive and was even taking part in my makeover journey. I then started reading a lot of intellectual books to keep me updated on topics related to finance and business. I wanted to have something to add to the conversations when I was invited to any formal parties the next time. The next step was to gain confidence, so I decided to go out alone by myself and see how I would be able to handle this situation all by myself. I went to a coffee shop because that was the only place I could think of where it would not be weird to go alone for a cup of coffee. I knew that I might have to strike a conversation with a person to work on my confidence. I ordered my coffee and started scanning to look out for a person who I could talk to, someone who looked like they were not in a hurry. I saw a young man reading a book which I had already finished. I felt like it would be quite natural and look very organic to strike a conversation around it. I went over to him and asked if I could sit alongside him and if it would not be a bother. He did not mind, so I sat and waited to gather my courage to talk again. I asked him if he was liking the book so far. He looked up and smiled at me as if I was trying to make a pass. I quickly said that I did not mean to interrupt him but could not stop myself because I felt the book was very underrated. He asked me if I knew what the book was about. It was more like he was testing me rather than curious to talk about it. I told him that I was not trying to hit on him, but genuinely wanted to just discuss the book. We then spoke for 30 minutes about the book. I was so mesmerized by his take on the book that I did not even realize that my coffee had already gone cold. He told me that since it was his fault, he would buy me a coffee, and we could talk more about the book. I liked the idea and could not say no to it. We sat there talking about books and other things in life, and I was surprisingly enjoying his company. I thought that I was an introvert and very few people understood me, but with him, the conversation felt so effortless. I did not want it to end as I could talk about the things that I enjoyed. He asked me if he would get to see me again when we were leaving. I thought for a while and said that if fate wanted, then maybe we would meet again, so let's leave it to fate. I had a smile on my face the whole day and kept going back to the conversation that we had. There was an unexplainable attraction that I felt while talking to him, and that's when I realized that I did not even ask him what his name was. I just thought that it was like a silly attraction to meet someone with whom you resonate so much, and left it at that. After a week, I decided to go to the same cafe, hoping that I might run into him again, if I was lucky. Unfortunately, there was no sign of him, so I came home dejected. I had to go out to meet my friends, but I was not feeling like it, so I decided to go to a bookstore instead to clear my head. I was strolling aimlessly through the aisles when I got pulled into a corner. I was shocked and scared and was about to scream when I realized who it was. It was the mystery man from the coffee shop, which instantly brought a smile to my face. He had this cheeky smile as well, and said that he could not stop thinking about me and our conversation. Without even thinking, he kissed me. The fact that we were very close worked in his favor. Though I wanted to resist, the kiss was so good that I gave in instantly without even opposing it. I kissed him back. It was as if I was waiting for this to happen, He had a grin on his face that told me that he was very sure that I would react this way. He pulled me into a deeper corner of the store, and we started kissing again. Our hands were all over each other, and before we realized, we were making out with each other. The makeout soon transformed into a full-blown sex session. We suppressed our moans and had a satisfying look once we were done. I grabbed my clothes and started dressing myself. I turned around to look at him and maybe have a conversation, but before I could do that, he was gone. I did not even get his name or anything else from him, and it all felt like a dream. The whole time walking back, I had to keep pinching myself to let it sink that it was all real and not some fantasy dream. The encounter left such an impact on me that I could still feel his presence lingering on my body even after a few hours. It made me feel like this breaks all the records of being the craziest thing I ever did in my life. I kept going back to the bookstore to try my luck and see if I could spot the guy again. It was like he disappeared from the face of earth. My husband asked me after a week if there was something that I did which was worth mentioning. I said that there was nothing substantial or exciting that I did which was worth sharing. He then showed me a picture and asked me if I knew him. I was shocked to see that my husband was holding a picture of the same guy that I made out with. My face turned pale and words would not come out of my mouth. However, I wanted to play it cool, so I composed myself and said no. He raised his eyebrow and then showed me a video of us making out and asked, "Then how would you explain this?" I was speechless, as I was very confident that no one saw us in that dark, shady corner of the store. How the hell was this video even recorded, and that too with such clarity? I quickly got into action and told my husband that it was a one-time thing and that it meant nothing. He told me that why did not I tell him all this the day it happened? I would have obviously not told him if he did not find out about it. I was thinking, isn't that obvious? Why would I tell him something so outrageous and put everything at stake when I know he would not like it? He called my kids and asked them what they think of their mom and her bold actions. I was shocked that my husband would show my kids something like this and make them look down on me. Both my kids were like they were ashamed of me for falling so low and being desperate to sleep with the first person I met. My daughter then said that the guy I slept with was actually her classmate and was stalking her to go on a date with him. She sarcastically said that even my mom would not be interested in you. He accepted that and said that if he was able to charm me, then my daughter would have no choice but to date him. My daughter very gladly accepted, as she was very sure that I would never fall for his sweet talks, and that would be the end of it. Of course, she had no idea that her mother would do something like this and put her in the spot. He not only did charm me, but went one step ahead and had sex with me. My daughter said that now her entire school knew that her classmate slept with her mom. She was being bullied as the guy very proudly shared the video with everyone he knew, tagging her and letting everyone know that the woman in the video was her mom. My daughter thought that it might have been a fake video at first, because the only time he met me was in the cafe which was set up by her. She had no idea about the bookstore. The video looked too perfect to be AI generated, so she did some digging on her own and found out the truth. She challenged the guy and asked him to stop spreading fake videos, which showed her mom in a bad light. What he said next confirmed that they were not fake. He said that, "If the videos are fake, then how would I know that your mom has a scar on her lower back and a tattoo that covered it?" She had no reply to it and came to my husband, letting him know everything. My husband hugged my daughter and said that the only way to know the truth would be to confront me. I was in tears listening to all of it. I did not know that one wrong action would put my sweet baby in such a situation where everyone was bullying her and calling her names. She was crying, telling that all the guys in her school kept asking her if she would like to go to a bookstore with them. The comments that she got were vile and thirsty. My husband then asked the kids to leave, and he would take care of all this in his own way. I was heartbroken because I not only became selfish, but also ruined the beautiful relationship I had with my kids. I begged my husband to give me another chance to prove that I am the same person who he was in love with for all these years. He said that if I were the same person, then first of all, I would not feel like I needed to change myself. And second of all, after changing myself, I would not go behind his back and do something like this and not even feel guilty about it. I told him that just because I made one little mistake to make me feel a little happy and confident, that does not mean that I was going to throw away my life and family for it. My husband said that there was nothing he wanted to do with me. If I had cheated on him, he would have been okay to handle it on his own. But now that I had scarred our kids for the rest of their lives, he would never be able to forgive or forget what I did. He would make sure that I pay the price for ruining not only his life, but also his kids. I begged my husband that I was sorry that I got carried away and did not think that my mistake would destroy our family. He said that I was not a kid to not know what the consequences of my actions would be, and still went ahead with it. He said that if I had been thinking about my family, then I would never have wavered and done something that would bring shame to us all. He said that he was still in shock and unable to believe that I would do something like this. He was always very proud of the woman he married, as he knew that I would always be loyal and take care of the kids, even when he did not have enough time to contribute. He said he had not only chosen a life partner, but a mother for his kids, who he believed would always put her family first. Now that I had gone against everything that he thought I was, there was no place for me in his life or his kids' life. I was shocked that he decided already without even considering all the years that we had been together. I told him that he could not decide for himself and my kids. He said that our kids also stand by the same decision. They did not want to live with a person who could not be a good role model for them. They wanted to forget everything that happened in the last few days and move on with their lives. I was devastated that the kids that I had spent years taking care of did not want me in their lives. Just a few days ago, I was their best mom and their best friend, and now all they wanted was to forget that I was ever in their lives. I cried and walked out of the house as I was too ashamed to even argue or beg for forgiveness. In the blink of an eye, my whole life took a 360-degree turn, and I was all alone. I blame no one but myself for all the things that happened to me. Somewhere even I feel that in my journey to be able to compliment my husband, I got blinded by it and took it too far. Maybe I should have been happy with the way I was. I did not consider the fact that my husband loved me and never cheated on me. I had 2 beautiful kids who were always proud of their mother and would share everything with me. I had everything that a woman could dream of, but I ruined it all by my own greed to become someone that I was not. All life lessons are learnt the hard way, and I have learnt mine as well after all this mess. Do not go against your natural flow of things and try to change everything that is not in your hands. If people are unhappy with you, then they will address it in their own way. I do not have to overthink and beat myself up for not being on par with someone who had dedicated a good part of their life to developing a skill. Everyone has a different skill that they are good at, and not everyone can be perfect in everything. I know it's all obvious to say, but I learned this very late in life, after I lost the things and relationships that were dear to me. I miss every part of being married to him, especially the kids and the amount of time we spent as family. I am not sure if I would ever be able to meet them, and if they would forgive me for ruining our happy family. Writing this might ease my pain a little and make me realize where I went wrong, and give clarity on how I can get back together with my family. I would never stop to try and make amends with them and ask for forgiveness 1,000 times if I had to. I miss everything about my husband and kids, and never imagine my life without them. Thank you all for listening to my mistakes, and hopefully you guys can suggest how I can make my life better going forward. Give me tips on getting back with my family even,